Hey there, special educators. Welcome to Autism Academy 360, a podcast to making your job as special education teachers easier. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Abby, a behavior specialist. And together, we have over 25 years of special education experience.
And I'm a veteran autism teacher. We both are passionate about empowering you with practical teaching strategies and actionable tips and tricks that will help you thrive in your role.
Whether you're a seasoned educator looking for fresh insights, a newbie navigating your first classroom, or a parent of a neurodivergent child, this podcast is your go-to resource for all things autism.
So let's get started with today's episode.
There's a behavior happening. So of course, preventative strategies is going to be the best intervention that we can do. So the first one is we know that students with autism thrive on routine and predictability. And the bus ride might not have a ton of routine. Yes, you're doing the same stops every day, but it's a long time of unstructuredness. So how can you make it a little bit more structured for these students? So you can do a few things. The best one that I'm going to suggest that you use is using a bus stop countdown. So some sort of visual. So this could be something just like a whiteboard at the front of your bus. And it could be the number of stops that you are on, and your student, if they're able to understand what number stop they are, that they can just be looking at it and being aware. You can also make these individualized, which if you have a student who has more significant behavior, I'm definitely going to suggest this. So I think of something Velcro that you can either hand the student, put on the back of the bus seat, and students can either take off a piece every time they get to a different stop, or they can put it on. And this can be for going to school or coming home. I think about if I ride the subway, I am looking at the stops. I am counting down how many stops that I have left because I just want to be there. I don't really care to be on the subway with people that are close to me, touching me. And this is something that I look forward to. It helps me, just manage my time on there. And I'm a neurotypical adult. So if it works for me, it is going to help your student or your child. Now, another strategy is to explicitly teach expectations on the bus. So often I see that, maybe at the beginning of the year, students will go on and they'll do maybe their bus drill. But students with autism need to have them explain to them in a little bit different of a way. So they are visual processors. So that means that using a social narrative or social story, using visuals, using adapted books to teach exactly how to act on the bus is going to give you just more bang for your buck. Now, you can't do this once and hope that your student just miraculously changes their behavior. If you have a student who's really struggling, you might need to read a social story every day before they get on the bus. This might need to be something they read at home and at school before they get on. Or maybe your student doesn't need it every day, but they need it on a Monday. They need it on Monday refresh. They need it after maybe long breaks. Then you can even pair with some visuals for the bus on bus behavior expectations. So if your social narrative is really targeting staying in your seat, having those same visuals on the bus, so the bus driver, bus attendant can maybe just point to it when the student is not sitting in their seat, is going to really help solidify what they are trying to get across instead of just telling them or saying it over the bus speaker. Now, if this is something you need, I'm going to link a product that has an adapted book and social story all about how to behave on the bus, visuals that you can add, contingency maps, all the things that you're going to need. It's right in there. So if you need it, that is going to be in the show notes for you. Now, once you teach these expectations, it is so important to reinforce the positive behavior. So you could do something like a bus box system. And this can look very different depending on the level of behavior, depending on your student or child. But having this clear and immediate rewards is going to be so effective in helping students understand what behavior you're looking for. So say you, again, are looking for your student to be sitting in the seat, obviously, but they are struggling with doing it right now. If you have some sort of bus buck system, maybe every day that they sit in their seat for a certain amount of time, they get to take a bus buck with them. And at the end of the week, they can turn that in for a larger prize. Or maybe your student needs that reinforcement of that tangible even quicker. Not that it has to be a tangible, just many times it makes it a little bit easier for this. So you could do something like a token board with 5 pieces maybe. And every so often on the bus, make sure that you are giving it to them when they're sitting and you are praising them specifically for that. Now, in this instance, you are going to need to have an attendant on the bus to do this. It's not going to work with a bus driver, a teacher, or a parent doing it because they have to be able to actively be doing it. But when they do that, then maybe they could get a reward when they get to school or when they get home to reinforce that. A lot of different ways you can do it, but just making sure that you are specifically giving them that positive reinforcement when they are doing what you expect. Now, when students are on the bus ride, I always say that downtime is danger time, and the bus is a little bit of downtime. They aren't actively engaged in things. And many students, yes, like to look out the window, might just enjoy the movement of the bus, but also many students struggle with this. So, what can you do? Now, this definitely has to be a collaboration with the team, with the bus drivers, the teachers, or parents. And thinking of things that the student can possibly do on the bus ride. So I've done things like sent a whiteboard in and the student just loved to color. And that was something that stayed on the bus. So it wasn't a lot of management from our end of having to bring something every day. I have done this before and had it become an issue with students coloring on the bus. So then we have to revamp. Maybe they need something else like a book that they can read or a fidget that they can play with. Just something to have them engaged with so they are not engaging in that problem behavior. If you're able to, you can even put on some music, maybe either calming music or music that they really like. If you have a few students on the bus, maybe creating a playlist of all of their favorite songs. These are just different ways that you can be creative about it and get your students engaged with something so that they are not engaging in that problem behavior. Now, I told you that this podcast is going to be all about preventative strategies, and it is so far. But you and I both know that behaviors are going to happen, and I never feel like I did right by you by not giving you a tip for when behavior does happen. Now, the most important thing is when a behavior happens is to stay calm. So there's a lot of different ways that you can practice staying calm yourself, but that is going to be the utmost importance because there is a potentially very dangerous situation if you yourself are not calm. So making sure that you stay calm and then responding, not reacting. So getting with the team, talking about what works at home, what works in the classroom to have that student remain calm or get back to being calm and somehow adapting those strategies if needed or just using the same strategies on the bus. Maybe there needs to be, a little stockpile of maybe some calming tools on the bus, which could be like a weighted blanket maybe they might need to just grab and be able to put on their lap. Maybe it's some breathing cards. Maybe it is some visuals of calming nature scenes, things like that, that whatever it works for the student, it needs to just be specific to them. But having that proactive plan for it is going to help you to respond, not react. You're going to feel more confident and it's going to end up in a better situation for all. All right, that was some tips that you can take for the bus if you are a parent, if you are a teacher, or if you are a bus driver. You want to just make sure that you have a really predictable experience on the bus for the students. And you could do that by having a countdown of stops until they get to either school or home. Really explicitly teaching the expectations for the bus by using social narratives. And I'm going to leave, again, a link for you in the show notes if you want to grab something for that. Using positive reinforcement, I like to call them bus bucks, but it could really be anything. It doesn't have to be bus bucks, but just reinforcing that specific behavior that you are looking for. Then keeping the students engaged throughout the ride. And finally, to respond, not react. If you have any questions about the bus ride, these aren't working for you, or you just need some more detail about one of them, send me a DM, mrsmosmodifications.com, and we'll problem solve together. Have a great day. Till they get to either school or home. Really explicitly teaching the expectations for the bus by using social narratives. And I'm going to leave, again, a link for you in the show notes if you want to grab something for that. Using positive reinforcement, I like to call them bus bucks, but it could really be anything. It doesn't have to be bus bucks, but just reinforcing that specific behavior that you are looking for. Then keeping the students engaged throughout the ride. And finally, to respond, not react. If you have any questions about the bus ride, these aren't working for you, or you just need some more detail about one of them, send me a DM, mrsmosmodifications.com, and we'll problem solve together. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Autism Academy 360. We hope that you've gained some tips and motivation to fuel your week ahead.
Before you go, don't forget to hit that follow button on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. If you want to show support, head to Apple Podcasts and leave your rating and review.
Until next time, stay inspired, stay informed, and most importantly, stay connected. We'll catch you in the next episode.